Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Schaefer Center here in Waxahachie, Texas, on the campus of Southwestern Assemblies of God University. We are in for a good morning treat in the world of college NAIA volleyball. I'm sitting here with my broadcast partner, Devin Webb. She is the expert. What's up, Devin?
Not much, John. How are you doing today?
I am doing great, and I'm very excited about this matchup. We have the number 17 team in the nation in the house today, and that can be a little intimidating, except the Lady Lions are on a pretty good streak. They are 5-1 in their 6 games played this season and dropped a heartbreaker up in the Silver Dollar City tournament. But outside of that, they've been playing stellar volleyball. What's it like when a big team, a big nationally ranked team comes into your house? What's the emotion like?
Well, I think it's obviously much more intense than catching a team like that in a tournament because you're on your home turf. So there's a bit more pride involved. They want to defend their home court, of course, and it's much easier, to get pumped up for a game like this when you're on your own turf. So we saw a lot of great volleyball last night from the Lady Lions in that doubleheader. And 2 very different levels of competition, and I think this morning against Georgetown is going to be even more elevated, higher competition, higher intensity. So last night was a good warm-up for that, and based on watching right now, it looks like the Lady Lions are ready to come out and start strong. Yeah, and Kristen Urban is our sideline reporter. She's down on the floor with head coach Hank Moore. Let's see, Kristen, what does Coach have to say?
Thanks, John. Coach Moore, you're coming off back-to-back wins last night. How do you plan on carrying that momentum in today's games?
Well, we're sitting in a situation where we played great ball last night. It's early in the morning, so we got to get up and get kids moving. I think we're ready for this match.
Georgetown is also coming off an impressive win against Our Lady of the Lake. What is your game plan to defeat them today?
Our plan for them is just to go after them. They play a little different type of defense than what we're used to seeing. It's a rotation defense, but we're excited. They're going to leave the middle of the floor open. We're going to go after that. Instead of the corners, we'll be attacking the middle.
Thanks, Coach Moore, and good luck today. Back to you, John and Devin.
Thank you, Kristen. And Coach Moore, to say the least, he's excited. I mean, I talked to him a little last night, and he feels like they are in a good spot coming into this game. They practice hard. They're gelling as a team. The chemistry is there, and he's very excited about all the options. He's not used to all the options, and I think he's really having to put his coach's hat on. What's the problem when you have, or it's kind of one of those good scenarios when you have so many options as a coach?
It's kind of a catch-22. When you have only one great player per position, it makes making a lineup a lot easier. So you have that working to your advantage. But at the same time, when you've got so many talented players in each position, while it is harder to decide how to create a lineup, let's say someone gets hurt, someone's having an off day, you do have options to choose from. So he's got a really strong team, really tall team, which helps him on the front line. And especially in a team like this playing against Georgetown, it's going to be huge for us to use that height to our advantage because they obviously nationally ranked. They've got to be really strong offensively, so we're going to have to come up strong on the block and be able to stop some things from the net because Georgetown is not going to be shy for any of that.
Okay, we're going to go down courtside right now for the pregame festivities and the national anthem.
Lord, we thank you for this time here. Lord, I pray that you watch over all the players, protect them from all injury and all harm, Lord. We thank you for your grace and for your love. May we give you all the praise and glory for it. It's in Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleam? stripes and bright stars through the perilous tide, o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the starting lineups for the Tigers. At center, senior number 3, Sarah Bell. Defensive specialist, junior number 5, Madison Muller. Right sides, junior number 9, Sarah Snyder. Defensive specialist, freshman number 10, Samantha Lincoln. Outside hitter, junior number 12, Jessica Tapp. Middle hitter, junior number 14, Ashton Meckley. And at libero, sophomore, number 1, Lexi Gatewood. Head coach for the Tigers is Felicia Pace. And now, the starting lineups for your SAGU Lady Lions. Outside hitter, senior number 2, Callie Shaw. Outside hitter, freshman, number 4, Alexis Muller. At center, junior, number 8, Sophia Ivy. Outside hitter, right side, senior number 17, Suzanne Figueroa. Middle hitter, right side, freshman number 18, Jancy Akers. And at libero, senior number 7, Celie Bruce. Head coach for the Lady Lions in his 18th season is Hank Moore. Assistant coach is Nick Moore.
And there you have it. The pregame festivities are over. The starting lineups are announced, and the national anthem has been sung. It's time for some volleyball. This is going to be an epic matchup. Number 17 in the nation in NAIA Division I. Powerhouse, perennial powerhouse in Georgetown College. They come from Georgetown, Kentucky, and they just have an awesome history, and I think in most places that legacy carries forward a little bit of an intimidation factor. We'll see if the Lady Lions have bought into that at all. I do know that through some conversations, the Lady Lions feel like they should be a nationally ranked top 25 team, but Coach Moore says they got to earn it, and the way they earn it is by playing big teams like Georgetown College, and if they come away with a win today, they will definitely have earned it with 3 great top 25 wins this year.
And this match is going to be most important for the race to each 5-point marker. So starting in the very beginning of each set, racing to 5 and then to 10, 15, 20, and 25. There's not room in either team for a big deficit. So we're going to need to make sure on either side of the floor, if you want to take away each set, you're going to have to race to each 5-point marker.
And Celie Bruce is about to deliver the first serve, and we're off.
We see Molly McBride here with a kill attempt. She took a little bit longer to warm up last night right there as the Lady Tigers take away the first point of set number 1. That was number 12, Jessica Tapp. But McBride is in at the very beginning of this set. It's great to see. She's a really fun player to watch, a senior for Coach Moore. So it's good to see her starting out the day today.
And Jessica Tapp, you will hear her name a lot today. She is the leading kill getter, however you would say that. She leads the team in hitting average and or percentage and most kills by a single player.
And Suzanne here with the second serve for the Lady Lions.
Callie Shaw from behind the 10-foot line delivers a really nice, not super powerful, but powerful to the back row. And the Lady Tigers have a problem getting it over the net.
Well, we saw there the kill attempt went cross-court, and the Lady Lions were unable to recover it for a Lady Tigers second point. And with a great play there by Sophia Ivy, a dump on the second contact. And this match is going to be a lot of that, obviously aggressive hits from the front line, but with the strong blocks that both teams have, they're going to have to switch it up and send some off-speed second balls over in order to keep the game going. Nikki
Almaguer with the serve. Deep serve to the back line.
Great defense by Suzanne. A tip to the middle of the floor, recovered by Almaguer. A bit of an out-of-system play here. And Suzanne there with the same shot she's already hit a couple times today.
Yep, and that was an impressive bump set by someone who doesn't really get an opportunity to set a lot. That was Callie Shaw.
A bit of a miscommunication there between the two front row for the Lady Lions, Jancy Akers and Callie Shaw. Good defense by Sophia Ivy diving for that first contact. We just got to talk a little bit more on the floor.
And maybe that's a little bit of the freshman play by Akers, just having to learn the system and where people are on the floor to help her out. The Tigers bench seemed to think that was out, but the line judges seemed to think it was in. That point goes to the Lions.
With Brittany Stolaby back to serve for SAGU.
That was a great hit by Sarah Bell. Correction, not Sarah Bell. Madison Mudd.
And it looked like Shaw was just a little late to the block there, giving an open net for that last point.
Great dump there again by Madison Mudd. Being very accurate with her placement. Ooh. Coach Moore making an adjustment with Almaguer as to where she should take off hitting that.
A great pass by Bruce out to Shaw. Looked to be a little bit timid on the Lady Lions side. Several errors back to back. So it's going to take them a little bit to get their aggression back. You see the same thing in Suzanne's roll shot right there. Lots of tipping going on. And Shaw with the win right there, the win of a point. Now, as the Lady Tigers are recovering everything that the Lady Lions are sending over, those off-speed shots are going to be what win us points here.
Yeah, Emily Pike with a very valiant effort to pancake. It looked like it was good from our vantage point, but the R1 says no go.
So there you see an out-of-rotation call. Still a great serve by Sophia Ivy, but the Lady Tigers were slightly out of rotation. You saw the R1 call, so that can be if there's a foot, one of the players' feet is crossing barely over and they're out of rotation. It can be if the setter leaves too early before the opposing team makes contact with the ball. So that's a really tight call by the R1. And a great block by Mueller and Shaw. Double contact called on the Lady Tigers.
You can already sense the energy in the building. This is an epic matchup, as I had mentioned earlier. Both of these teams jockeying back and forth for the lead with already 4 lead changes. Great dig, Sophie Ivy.
Lots of short tips from the Lady Lions going over to the opposing side.
Let's see if we can catch this in the replay. Should have a good angle at it.
And it looked to me like the line judge wasn't really paying attention. He didn't actually call anything. It's unfortunate. It's easy to get caught up in what's going on the floor and you forget to watch the line. Coach Moore's a bit frustrated on that call, but we have a chance to get it back. And the ball never lies, as Coach Moore says.
But on the replay, we didn't get a great look at where it hit from that vantage point, but it did look like it was going long and out.
So we've got Shaw back to serve with a 1-point lead here in set 1. And hustled out to number 12, Jessica Tapp. With Ivy diving for the ball, shanking just barely outside of the floor to a little too out of system to make it into it.
Yeah, that looked like Jessica Tapp, her experience coming in, really great placement there. Put it right in the middle of the bullseye.
And Ashton Meckel with the serve for the Lady Tigers. Great dig by Madison Mudd. Great dig by Celie Bruce on a free ball play by the Lady Tigers. Molly McBride up for a cross-court shot. Good rally.
That was very close. Looked like it was right on the line. Great placement again by Jessica Tapp. She is a player.
Great swing by freshman Alexis Muller.
Wow, it fooled me. I thought she was going to the other side of the court and turned just at the last moment.
And you see in the replay there, she turned her shoulders just a tiny bit, but most of that turn was in her wrist. That's kind of a technique to throw off the defense. The more your shoulders are facing one way, the more the defense will think you're hitting that way. So she turned her wrist last minute for that point.
And it worked. Sophie Ivy delivering, instead of a set, a play over the net into the deep corner. It worked.
A little bit of frustration.
It did not work, I should say.
Looks like there's a little frustration on the side of the Lady Lions. They're just kind of playing a little bit of messy ball. We know that they can play better than this, so they'll just need to clean it up here as each point progresses. Lots of unforced errors.
A 2-point lead for the Tigers. The Lady Tigers finally getting a little distance from that 1-point lead. 6 lead changes already in this game.
Oh, great dig by Suzanne from the front row there. Unfortunately, we sent it over a free ball to the Lady Tigers, and they're able to return that for a kill attempt. And a completion there by Molly McBride. The ball falls just barely in front of the block. Great placement there.
Yeah, Molly McBride just getting back into the thick of things with this team, getting significant playing time. We saw last night coming off of significant shoulder injuries, and she is her percentage was very, very high last night.
And we're back at a tie game here, 11-11. Suzanne back to serve.
That was a great hit.
Great defense, a little bit outside on the set. And right there, the Lady Lions defense all just kind of looked at each other. for a point falling in the middle of the floor, which as a coach you never want to see. There's always got to be a body. If a ball hits the floor, there should be bodies all around it trying to make an effort, and right there the Lady Lions look to be a bit confused, all standing up around the ball.
And that makes the 7th lead change.
Out of system play, Sealy Bruce for another free ball over to the Lady Tigers. Solo block by Sophia Ivy there for a great point. That is a huge momentum shift for this first set. We've had a lot of free balls from the Lady Lions, a lot of second ball pushes that aren't really aggressive. So seeing a solo kill block like that is a refreshing thing to see.
Well, Sophia Ivy put a free ball over there early, and you saw her shake her head like she knew she could have done better. And that was great to see a block. Callie Shaw right there delivering radar gun worthy smoke. Wow.
Impressive defense from Suzanne in that back right spot for the Lady Lions. Consistently clean dig throughout this set.
The freshman, Akers, Jancy Akers delivering with a little light smoke. Change-up, as they would call it in baseball.
Now we see these off-speed roll shots and tips working in our favor. At the beginning of this set, we were kind of struggling to get anything onto the floor from the Lady Lions side, and the Lady Tigers were recovering everything. But here we've got Shaw. You see a really aggressive swing, and then 2 points later, and there, a really great sweep by Shaw. She was there for the block, ready to go up, made the decision instead of playing it back to her team. She was confident in her placement on the net, so she decided to sweep it. That's a judgment call. Each player is different on what they think they should do there, and Coach Moore gives them the freedom to make that decision. And as we saw in that example, Shaw made the right one.
We see a 4-point spread, largest spread of this game. First 1 to 15, which we often mark as the first goal. Get to 15 first. The percentage of win for the team that hits 15 first is very, very high. So we'll see if that holds true in this particular game. Of course, the juggernaut in Georgetown College may have a little bit to say about that. I don't think a 4-point deficit scares them too much. They were very intense in the huddle there. This is a team that is not used to losing, and I'm not talking about just matches. In 6 games, they have only lost 2 sets. Only 2 sets. It takes 3 to win. So they had 2 matches where they went 3 wins and 1 loss in their set count. And to contrast that, although and both of these teams have played 6 games, SAGU is 5-1 to Georgetown 6-0. SAGU has dropped 7 sets already.
So that's going to make it even more important for the Lady Lions to take away a set from Georgetown, as Georgetown's not used to even losing any sets. But if they can take away this first set with this 4-point lead, it's going to be huge for them to have that momentum on their side. Good coverage by Ivy on a tip. Almaguer with the back row attack.
For hits, you wanted the first call,
double contact.
the double contact,
You
but
saw all the spin on that set there. I think that may have been a missed call from the referee. I saw Coach Moore making the same signal. But the Lady Lions got the point nonetheless, as we are back underway here, up 17-12 for the Lady Lions.
Great defense by the Lady Tigers. And a good putback there by number 11, Emma Pike.
And it's fun to see fast-paced games like this where we have a lot of action happening on the net. Both teams are blocking extremely well, but the opposing team of the block is also recovering really well, which keeps the game in play. Really fast-paced, high-speed, a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun to watch, and I was going to make a comment about the referees a little earlier that everything's happening so fast at the net and a lot of net action. It could be, now you don't expect your referees to miss calls, but could be that they're trying to gather that information in their brain so fast that it's easy, you can almost understandable.
And right there you see Ivy and Mueller up for a block. Susanne falls down behind them. That was, the net was kind of working in the favor of the Lady Tigers there. Messed up the speed of the ball, but a good point for the Lady Tigers.
And a little mop-up duty by Susanne. Now the floor is all clean. Service, Georgetown College, Madison Mudd.
Great clean pass by Almaguer out to Shaw for a roll shot. Recovered. Great defense again by the Lady Tigers.
Ooh. Let's look at the replay. Did that hit the net, or was that was actually tipped?
So that's a hard play right there for Bruce to judge where the ball's going to come off of Mueller's hands.
Yep. And definitely she was leaning inward, and the tip caused the ball to go outward. There was a long serve there. Point SAGU. Still a 4-point margin.
And right there you have a 4 contact. That's a tough call where the R1 has to be watching really closely.
Let's look at this. It looked like it might have gotten blocked. No. From that angle, it didn't look like the Tigers had touched it. Good eye by R1.
Strong recovery on the tip by Bruce. Out to Shaw. Tooled off the block for a SAGU Lady Lions point. That block came off of number 12, Tap. Her outside hand was turned just a little too far outside. Shaw took advantage of that, not turned into the floor. You see it hit that left hand of Tap for the point.
Beautiful.
And there McBride looks relieved as the net worked in her favor, helped her out a little bit there to get the ball moving in the right direction for that point.
Her accuracy at this point in her career is stellar. Not quite as much heat as we're used to seeing from Molly McBride in the past years, but her accuracy is definitely improved. And that is a little wide, I believe.
You saw the ball from Susanne here, goes and actually makes contact with the foot of the line judge.
Oh, wow. Very, very close.
And the R1 took
No
over
doubt.
that call.
Yeah, no doubt what that call would be. That is 3 long service errors in a row.
And if you look at the score here, 22-17 for the Lady Lions with 3 missed serves. That could make obviously a much closer game for the Lady Tigers here in set number 1. The score could be 19-17 with those 3 unforced service errors by the Lady Tigers.
Silly Bruce putting the ball in play long.
And you see Akers going up there for a joust attempt at the net. She was just a little too late there and lost the joust. You see that here. The Lady Tigers got to the ball first, leaving the ball on the floor of the Lady Lions side.
Great defense by the Tigers.
And Akers is back with a strong swing. An open block there for Tap. Like you've said, we're going to hear her name a lot.
A little bit stronger swing by Tap.
swings. You see the hole in the block right here. Akers didn't make it nearly far enough outside to meet Suzanne for the block, left the hole wide open.
Catching the Tigers defense off guard a little bit. Sophie Ivy with the early push. And just off of the block, it goes high but short. Defense not able to recover. Great hit by Sarah Bell.
So if you notice, anytime Ivy takes a defensive dig from the back row, she's passing the ball to Celie Bruce. That is a ball goes long with Bruce. Back row attack for Coach Moore to call timeout here.
Yeah, don't look now, but the score is just 1 point. The Lady Lions have given up a 5-point deficit. And like we said, the experience and the fortitude that the Lady Tigers will bring into this, there's really no deficit you can count too big.
And you notice some discouraged faces on the Lady Lions side walking to the timeout huddle. This right here, they were up 22-17, and now we are only a 1-point spread. In this point in the set, where both teams are this close to 25, this is when it's more important than ever, as Coach Moore would say, to play error-free volleyball. So those missed serves, those unforced hits into the net, silly communication mistakes, the maturity of the team is going to come out in these last couple of points. And this is where the fight really is shown of which team wants to take set number 1. SAGU called the timeout to try and ice the Lady Tigers and get them out of system a little bit. So we'll see here in the return which team is going to come out with the most fire.
Lady Lions proving that they have the talent to play against a juggernaut like Georgetown College, but do they have the ability to close it out, as you mentioned earlier? And this is where champions are made. A little long by Molly McBride. You'll see here, she tries to go opposite court, misses the block, great, but at the expense of going wide.
So we see here a little bit of confusion on the floor. The line judge called the ball inbounds. The R1 called it out.
I wonder if we could get a different angle on that. We saw the over-the-shoulder angle.
And right there we see the frustration by the Lady Tigers. The R1 overruled her own call. We see the ball here in this replay, slow motion down to the line.
So close, that's hard to tell. Yeah, I guess you have to respect the line judge's opinion there. And it was very, very close. Can understand the frustration.
Especially at this point with how close the scores are.
Absolutely.
But you see the coach being extremely respectful there for the Lady Tigers.
Absolutely. This is a top-tier program. You would expect nothing less. And you know, with great teams, great coaches, you always know 1 point is not the death of the game.
And that's a good call from that line judge. Not very confidently called, but I think in the end the right call to make.
Again, very, very close. Putting the pressure on these new line judges.
A roll shot by Shaw right in the middle of the floor. She saw that, had a great approach, is set right in the right position to make an aggressive swing, but she saw the open point on the floor.
And that is where just the experience, the veteran play, to know what to do in that situation. Probably if one of the freshmen would have hit it, that very capable of swinging hard, but not able to see where they should put it.
Little frustration there by Shaw.
Shaw tried to go the other direction. She turns on it quickly. Ooh, and just missed the block.
An aggressive tip there.
Shaw delivering the final blow of the first set with some smoke, some extra hot salsa.
And that's a great victory. Like we mentioned earlier, Georgetown has not been giving up any sets. So here we are, SAGU's taking that first set from them. That's a victory in itself.
Absolutely. And it just leans into more confidence for the Lady Lions, knowing now in practicality, not just theory. In theory, you can think you're as good as you want to think you are, but if you can't deliver, then practically speaking, you can't get those rankings, and you can't get the rating love that you think you deserve. But now you start this off. Yes, you're on your home court, but to get just one set win, the first set win, is such a big advantage here. You're on your home court, and knowing the Tigers have only lost 2 sets this season.
And you see here on the screen the stats from match number 1, pretty comparable in numbers. The difference we saw in the Langston match last night, for those of you that were tuning in, that showed on the scoreboard. And this same thing here with how close that set number 1 point spread was. All of these stats are neck and neck with each other. And it would be interesting to see, we've got a lot of great stats here, the positive ones, but I think error-wise, you would be surprised at what a difference that makes, because as you said, the Lady Tigers missed 3 serves all in the latter half of that first set.
Yep.
And that's a pivotal point in the set. You don't want to be giving up points like that.
By my count, I believe they had 4 total service errors. 3 of them came back to back to back, which is kind of a killer when you're trying to get something going. But you saw the veteran experience and play by the Lady Tigers. They made a 5-point run and in 2 service deliveries. So they are very capable of being down and getting themselves out of a hole. It was just a little too late in that particular set, but this is a very, very powerful team, and you see why they are ranked number 17 in the nation. But SAGU having a little bit to say about that, in the respect that they think they should be nationally ranked.
And you see here Coach Moore extremely calm in his team huddle. His demeanor more often than not on the court with his team. He, no doubt, is extremely proud of them. This is a huge team. Obviously, it would be huge to take an entire match, but just now as we're finished set number 1, taking a set from them based on their record this season is a big deal as well. So there's no doubt that Coach Moore is encouraging his team, but pointing out that there were a lot of opportunities for the Lady Lions to pull even further ahead, and we may see a lot less errors from the Lady Tigers in set number 2, but what's in control for the Lady Lions is to communicate, not let balls hit the floor. We had several balls that people were just staring at hit the ground. We can make a lot more effort on the side of the Lady Lions to eliminate errors like that, and the Lady Tigers can make less service errors and keep swinging like they have been.
Well, Lady Lions definitely fortunate that I would dare to say that Georgetown made more errors than they were used to in that particular set, and I expect to see a more focused Lady Tigers team come out with a little more focus and intensity.
Gusto.
Yeah, so you cannot rest on your laurels just because you won the first set. It takes 3 to win the match, and you got to play them all. And in an epic matchup like this, you're going to have to give 110%, if that is possible, on every play. Teams are getting ready, waiting for the ball. Little change there. It looked like they had to. They had Muller on the floor, and now they brought Celie Bruce back on the floor. Not sure.
So that's when you turn in the lineup, you can't, the libero doesn't take a spot on the lineup.
Okay.
It's going to be a purple jersey, and then white jersey libero will come in.
So it's an official substitution.
She doesn't count as a sub. She can come in and out as many times throughout the matches for any player. But when you have an official lineup turned in, it's got to be a purple jersey, not a libero taking a spot.
Got you. Good expert analysis by Devin Webb. That's why we have you here.
And you see the libero most commonly coming in for the middles. You have the middles opposite each other in the front and back row. Of course, the coach can make a judgment call for any other player, but that's the most common use for the libero. You see the R2 calling a touch there. Questionable point, but R2 calls it for a Lady Tigers point number 2.
Well, and that was the correct call because Jancy Akers raised her hand and fessed up to that it did touch her. Now you will not see that in every team, but Coach Moore, that's one of the things he requires from his players is absolute honesty to build the integrity as a team, as a group, and these referees do know that the Lady Lions will bring a complete, honest game to the court.
Great dig by Shaw there in middle back out to Suzanne. Tipped off the block for a kill. And it's a good thing, too, because if the Lady Tigers would have gotten that point, that would have already been the equivalent of the largest deficit we saw in the first set with a 4-point here in the beginning of set 2.
Ooh, little disjointed there.
And that is not something we have seen anything close to from number 12 Tap.
Well, and the initial dig was out of sorts, so the setter had a little bit trouble getting it to the right spot.
Shaw from the back row with a great kill, back row attack.
That is what I've noticed so far in Shaw's game this year, where she is really using her veteran understanding of the game to pick and choose at her off speed. Her off speed is getting her so many kills this year. She's not just trying to blow it by every time, and that is very, very good to see.
There's a great ace there by Suzanne as the Lady Lions take the lead from a 0-3. They're now on a 4-point run with Tap for the kill.
I believe that was actually Cassidy Raw.
Oh, my mistake.
Number 15, Haley Berger. Sorry if I butchered that, Haley, but that's the way it looks like on the roster. We'll call her Haley B from now on.
And right there we see a free ball kill from Sophia Ivy. The ball hits the floor, and that goes into the stat book as a kill for Ivy.
And I would say that's extremely rare against a team like the Lady Tigers.
Great defense by Shaw on the front and the back row. A back row attack there. Strong swing.
This comes behind the 10-foot line, right?
Yes, sir.
And that's mandatory because she was a back row player.
That's right. A lot of momentum on the side of the Lady Lions. You see now they're playing much cleaner volleyball, clean passes. They're playing aggressively at the net, and you can notice the difference in the score.
Again, Callie Shaw with the off-speed top spin. You call what do you call that? That hit
shot.
A roll shot.
And we are forcing, the Lady Lions are forcing the Lady Tigers for a timeout here. A 4-point spread. Now the Lady Lions are on an 8-point run to a 1-point win for the Lady Tigers. So that's a huge difference. You can, like I said, see it on the scoreboard, what's translating on the court.
So is there any strategy being discussed between the SAGU Lions coaches here, Coach Moore and Coach Nick, Are they discussing any adjustments that need to be made, or are they just going to let the Lady Lions kind of discuss it in the huddle amongst themselves?
Coach Moore is known for if he's not calling the timeout, if the team isn't struggling, he's going to allow the team to discuss amongst themselves and essentially encourage the other teammates to keep doing what they're doing. There's no need to change anything at this point in the set.
And you see on your screen, in other Sooner Athletic Conference action, Wayland Baptist is up 1-0 on the University of Science and Arts of Oklahoma. USAO has not won a game yet this season, and we saw last night Wayland Baptist win their first conference game in convincing fashion against MACU.
And right there, a misserve by Almaguer. So the technique for a timeout most commonly by a coach is to ice the server when a certain team is on a point run like the Lady Lions were. And in this case, that worked in the favor of the Lady Tigers as they gained the point back. So Coach Pace is no doubt excited for that timeout as we see a beautiful delivery by Shaw down the line for a strong 9th point. That replay, we watch her turn her shoulders in straight down the line.
So much strength and athleticism by Callie Shaw. She is the Sooner Athletic Conference kills leader right now.
Solo block, you see the excitement there from Ivy.
Emma Pike trying to show that she can deliver some smoke herself. And it gets blocked by Sophia Ivy. Oh, great recognition there. I believe that was Erin Kearney, number 16. Recognizing the empty space in the back line and delivering a nice little kill shot.
And right there, running a slide, Callie Shaw for the Lady Lions. That's a really important play to make sure your shoulders are in the right spot, because she is, you'll watch her in this replay, she's moving, her body is in the direction of outside the court. So she's got to turn her shoulders in there at the last minute to get the ball back in play. And unfortunately, didn't quite turn it enough.
I think a lot of times when we see Callie execute that play, she comes back across court instead of trying to take the thin line there. And maybe next time you'll see her go a little more towards the direction of the block. Oh, great recognition. Pancake by Celie Bruce.
Ball still in play here. Lots of
Almaguer.
hustle. Lots of hustle by Almaguer there.
What an effort by Nikki Almaguer to try to get that ball, risking not life, but maybe limb.
Sacrificing her body for the team.
Yeah, trying to get an all-important win today against the perennial powerhouse Georgetown College Tigers.
A solo block by a freshman. That is a huge play there for number 4, Mueller. Great replay. We watched that here. A really strong approach on the back row. That's especially hard for a middle blocker to line up with a back row attack. Obviously, it's easier when the body is closer to you on the front row. She lined up perfectly for that kill block there. Recovered by Molly McBride. Free ball over to the Lady Tigers. A little messy volleyball going on, but the rally is still live somehow.
Great hit by Suzanne. On a cross court like that, that's one of her specialties. Celie Bruce there with the defense. Great dig. Wow.
Lots of scrappy play.
That is the definition of scrappy play, but even better, the athleticism, the quick hands. Look at the quick hands.
That's why
Sophie Ivy and the freshman Mueller Quick hands.
So important to never give up on a ball until you hear the whistle. That's a great example of why. And the Lady Lions are on a run here after a couple of silly errors. You can see the mental focus that they have as they're pushing forward with a 7-point lead, the biggest that we've seen in this match. Great word there, the mental focus. And I think and Celie Bruce confesses to touching it. It didn't look like it, but she said it did. It peered off her hand so quickly. She tried to pull back, but couldn't get out of the way. Really strong swing there by Tapp. You saw the height that she had in her jump there. She was high above the net, had a lot of freedom there with an open block for that kill.
Tapp has some extreme vertical.
And a kill for Suzanne from the right side. We've seen a lot of kills from her on the left, and now she's on the right, both sides of the floor.
Callie Shaw really gave a great effort to get that back after it touched the blocker's hand. And McBride just got caught going the wrong way, created a hole right there at the front.
Great defense by Suzanne there on that tip. And the Lady Tigers catch Sophia Ivy on her heels just a little bit. She's unable to get to that ball in time.
Tapp is just a big-time gamer. Look at the vertical, the reach, and the placement. Top-tier player in the NAIA.
And you can already feel the momentum shifting in the room. Point after point, the Lady Tigers are taking away from the Lady Lions, and we're now down to only a 3-point spread. Suzanne there using the block in her favor. We saw lots of kill blocks coming from the side of the Lady Tigers, so Suzanne knew that the blocks were strong. She was going to have to get around them somehow, so why not tool them to use on the outside play?
Well, that was a big-time run by the Lady Tigers, and we'll see, was that big enough to get them back into contention after an 8-point deficit? Lady Lions are back now to a 5-point deficit, or winning margin.
An interesting looking tip from the Lady Tigers with an out-of-system play. Need to clean it up a little bit here. The ball goes long from Tapp.
Jay Tapp getting a little too much on it, and it was a 1-foot jump, so it looked a little awkward there. As you saw in the replay. And these kill you when you're playing such a huge match against a great team. Giving them points, especially they've shown the ability to come back. You don't want to give them points. Just get the ball over the net and then play good volleyball, play good defense.
That's a great example. Volleyball is a very simple game. Just pass, set, hit. When you start to overthink it is when it gets difficult and errors are starting to come out more. Mentally, if you keep it simple, you just own your circle on the floor, do what you know you're supposed to do, then that's how the team comes together.
Well, that's easy for you to say as a symbol of former volleyball greatness here on the SAGU campus, but every time I try to play volleyball, my body says it's not that simple.
You can stick to basketball.
Well, I would gladly do that.
As Akers there from the middle, a strong freshman for a point. The Lady Lions are now past the 20-point mark with a 7-point lead.
Big time hit by Emma Pike.
And you see there, we've seen that from the Lady Lions utilizing the block. Same thing on the side of the Lady Tigers. When you're getting blocked time after time or certain balls are getting recovered every time, you've got to switch up your offense. That's a great example of how to do it. Woo. I'd like a radar gun for that one.
Yeah.
Beautiful down the line shot here.
Oh.
That angle's hard to tell.
Yeah, and they caught it on the line. It had some curve to it.
Good dig by Almaguer. And a back row set to Suzanne, opposite of the velocity that Ivy was moving. We've got Brittany Stolleby back to serve.
Woo! Nice punch there. I believe that was Ashton Meckel. It was indeed. Perfect form there.
Great pass there by Sealy Bruce, really tight to the net to Ivy. And that's a great thing about having a front row setter. When you run a 5-1 lineup and you've got a setter with a strong left hand, even if she's not left-handed by nature, she can get up and make the decision to tip the ball with her left hand, throwing off the defense. A deep push by Ivy to the back right corner of the floor. Strong swing right over the block. Our defense on the Lady Lions side, every defensive player was in the right spot. We had Bruce in the far left part of the court and Almaguer deep middle, and that ball just went right over the block. So everyone was where they were supposed to be. The block just came down a little too early.
That was Emma Pike bringing some smoke herself. Little extra habanero sauce. Just too long, trying to be very precise, and got a little early on this swing, I think. Just barely.
We've seen two hitting errors back-to-back now for the Lady Lions. Mueller in the net and Suzanne wide. All the Lady Lions need is 1 point here to take set number 2. This is mental focus in action. They're trying to switch up their offense with Ivy sending the second ball over. You see Coach Moore getting a little bit heated there, trying to get Mueller outside to the right blocking position. A freshman getting used to all the responsibility that comes being a middle blocker in a collegiate volleyball setting.
Yeah, a lot of things to think about.
Now if the Lady Tigers there we go. We have the R2 calling the touch on that final point. It didn't look like the Lady Tigers thought there was a touch.
Yeah, they pulled back, and Meckel gets up.
Oh, yeah, you can see the change in direction of the ball. Had no spin initially, just barely tipped her finger and turned it to come further to the outside.
This is a good look. I think Meckel misses it, but Tap actually
taps it.
Yeah, snibs it.
That's a tough point in the game to be an R2.
Yeah, very, very, very tough. And it was a great comeback effort by the Lady Tigers. They did a good job. They had a really significant deficit. Made a good hard run at set point there. And you can see these ladies are very, very good. They've had a little road trip here. They played a couple games in Fort Worth yesterday against OLLU. which was a common opponent for SAGU yesterday. And they also played Texas Wesleyan, pulling away with 2 wins from Fort Worth, really only losing 1 set. So to lose 2 sets back-to-back matches their total loss bringing in, coming into today. They have doubled their set loss, and I am sure in the huddle they're having some talk about what they're seeing, what's going on, what's going wrong. We're not used to this, Coach. What are we missing here?
And the important thing about volleyball to remember is that there's a reason why you play best of 5 sets. So just because the Lady Lions are up 2-0, that is not even close to meaning that this game is over. Obviously, they're at an advantage, but we've seen in collegiate volleyball all over. I mean, I don't remember how many years ago it was, but when the University of Texas was playing in the national championship and they were up 2-0 and ended up losing. You can never
Right.
think that you've got it in the bag, because right now I don't doubt at all that the Lady Tigers are talking about how their advantage in this moment is that the Lady Lions could potentially start sitting back and resting a little bit more. But Coach Moore knows better than that. In his 18 years of coaching experience, he knows how quickly the game can shift into the favor of the opponent. So you've always got to stay on your A game, as they call it, and you've got to fight that way every single point, especially in such tight contending teams.
Well, yeah, you're sure to know that he's saying that this is a perennial powerhouse club. They know how to win. They don't do a lot of losing, so they're going to try to figure it out, and we've got to be ready to take on their absolute best focus, their best energy. Let's get out here and play our absolute best. And one thing that Coach Moore has this year that probably you could say has not had in the past is he's got a lot of weapons. So the stamina factor I see is not coming into play like it used to come into play, pulling from his bench. And freshmen, there are significant freshmen on this team that are making big plays in big opportunities, big times. So very, very good to see, as Coach Moore has really built a great ball club this year.
We've got Bruce, the service line there, getting ready to start as set number 3 is about to be underway. And a free ball for the Lady Tigers. You see an attempt there. McBride thought she saw the open spot, misjudged it just a little bit. A free ball returned with a free ball. It was a good spot on the floor. There wasn't anybody there, just a little bit wide. You saw Ivy waiting out the set there. It came right on top of the net. So rather than, if she would have gone up initially, it could have been a net violation. And she's in the back row right now, so she can't jump in front of the 10-foot line. That was a tough play. Same thing there. She's trying to jump, but that would be an immediate violation. The referee would call that in a heartbeat. So she's got to get creative on how to make that work.
Great defense.
Great block. And returned by another block from the Lady Lions. High intensity rally here early on in set 3.
And we're seeing a more intensified look from the Lady Tigers, and just as you said earlier, very easy to kind of kick back and not be as focused as a team.
Really strong block there, set by Tapp, partnered with Pike on the front row. Nothing is getting past that block, as you can see. Suzanne with a really strong kill attempt, blocked right back down. See Coach Moore calling a timeout. 6-0 here in set number 3. A really quick lead by the Lady Tigers. And again, this is exactly what they wanted to do coming into set 3. They're down 2-0. They know that they've got to come out strong right at the beginning, and they're doing that, evidenced by the score.
Yeah, and you can see the Georgetown coach urging her players, this is exactly what we should have been playing like. You have the talent, you have the ability, and I read her lips and she said, this is what I'm talking about. This is the level that we play at. And 6-0, I mean, very quick. And Coach Moore, I guarantee, is over there saying, yeah, we hadn't seen their best. Now you're going to get their best. What are we going to do with their best?
And the good news for Coach Moore is that he has seen his team play much better than the level they're playing right now. So it's not an issue of simply not having the talent on the floor, especially like you mentioned with the freshmen. He's got strong talent down his entire bench, really. This is just a matter of cleaning up the game. They're overcomplicating it, getting inside their heads. The Lady Lions just need to take a deep breath and play the game they know how to play. Lots of strong recovery on both sides.
It's a great rally going. Several passes. McBride with the strong hit. But even stronger, Jay Tapp through the middle. Couldn't get it through the blockers, but the block went straight down. Great hit. And that was not Jay Tapp. That was Emma Pike.
And you see there on that replay the gap in between Akers and the net as she set that block. Unfortunately, she's a little too far off, which is why the ball goes in front of her. You've got a hitting error there again by Akers. So that's a blocking error and a hitting error back-to-back. All that's important now for her is to shake that off again. Mental strength is so important in the game of volleyball. This is not a pretty picture if you are a Lady Lions fan of this scoreboard right now in the gym.
Big time, Jay Tapp delivering some ghost pepper.
You see Bruce there in that small team huddle for the Lady Lions, really carrying the team. She's a strong leader on the court.
Just a lot of mistakes, The mental focus not with the Lady Lions in this set, giving up points very easily. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with this. And then ping pong.
Coach Moore here calling for a substitution. We're going to take freshman Jancy Akers out and bring in Madeline Hartline, a familiar face.
Going deeper on the bench. But there again, you just don't see Callie Shaw make those kind of mistakes often. It's very, very rare. And you could just see the mental focus has left the building for the Lady Lions.
You see Coach Moore here sitting down not disengaged, but understanding this is nothing he can fix. He's called a timeout, but at some point his players just have to decide that they're going to come together and wake up and get out of this 12-point deficit.
Georgetown playing remarkable defense. The effort, not giving up on any play, any point. Big time rally. That's not a point you want to lose.
We saw a little bit, obviously more bright, shining moments for the Lady Lions there, but you see Ivy getting caught moving in to the court when the ball's going a little further outside, and a 13-0 spread is really, not impossible, but really difficult to come back from.
Well, at this point, you just kind of gotta pick your battles and not try to expend everything. Wow, that was a weird spin, the way that came back over. Great block by, I believe it was Madison Mudd.
You've got Coach Moore questioning here with the line judge.
It was a little, it did look a little funky, the way the ball popped back up. I don't know if we can see that replay.
So it looks like Coach Moore is arguing if that ball hit the antenna after touching the block on the side of the Lady Tigers, because if so, that would be a Lady Lions point.
Yeah, but that's impossible for them to see the replay on that. So I think the ref would have to go with their initial instinct of what they saw, which was that initial call. 14-0. You kind of dare to say this is a tale of two tales in this particular set for Georgetown College. They have dominated this set, which they have not the first two sets. They're down 2 sets to 0. Some people would say it's a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. I'd probably call it a Bruce Banner Hulk moment.
So we see there a replay call by the R1. No point given to either side. It's a little too hard to tell what really happened in that play. And thank goodness for the Lady Lions. They took advantage of that replay. And they are now on the board. So we've got a 1 serving 13 as Suzanne gets that kill and steps back to the service line.
Well, at this point, just the sheer math of it, you got to go 2-1 to get a win here.
Great hustle by the Lady Lions, but it seems there's a lot of arms just kind of sticking out. Not quite as much movement in the feet as we've seen in previous plays by the Lady Lions defense. Lots of straight arms sticking out, balls going all over the court.
I think you use this set as a teaching moment, and you let some of your bench players get good action against a great team. Let them see the pace of what it looks like from a great team, and you almost kind of concede the set. Don't spend all your energy trying to come back, make a miracle comeback.
Great scrappy play there by the Lady Tigers. But Madeline Hartline, number 3 from the middle. She just subbed in recently a few points ago. She's got a huge swing there as the Lady Lions peck point by point away at this lead.
11-point deficit.
Strong dig by Bruce.
Interesting call. I didn't see what happened there.
In this replay, they're calling a double.
I didn't see a violation.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what that call was. And if the Lady Lions aren't able to really come back from this strong lead that the Lady Tigers have, at some point you just got to admit that this needs to be a wash and you move on to the next set.
Jimmy Connors used to say, when you know you're getting beat, just get beat and then come back and reset and play better. If they expend all their energy trying to win this set, they might not leave enough gas in the tank to finish the match. It's the best of 5. You're already up 2 to zip.
Good communication there by Shaw. You saw it could have been a little bit of miscommunication by Stalaby. She was right there underneath the ball, right where Shaw was, but Shaw called her off and was able to get that ball in play for the point. Good recovery by Shaw. Keep the ball in play for a free ball over to the Lady Tigers.
Stalaby just coming up a little bit short. Substitution. Celie Bruce for Stalaby. Great block.
Strong swing by Shaw. Another great
the
rally.
Defense.
At this point in the rallies, when you're going to see some off-speed things, these strong attacks clearly aren't making it for a point. You see there Almaguer though with the strong swing. It didn't get to that point, but when you have both sides of the floor swinging away every single time and you can't get a point, that's when you have the coach start calling, okay, send the second ball over, dump it into the middle of the floor, do that roll shot, tip the ball, get the defense out of system. That's at some point in a rally, it's the only way you're going to get a point.
Well, the defense there by Georgetown College was amazing. They provided several good rallies. And as a fan, I always like to see those great rallies, but you just know it's eating up energy out of the gas tank of each one of these players. So as a coach, you might be a little bit on edge.
You see here on the Lady Tigers side, we've got a stalling tactic with cleaning the floor with the towel. It looked like Tap lost her shoe on the back row. At the end of that rally, she threw it. You see her putting on her shoe there behind the floor. So rather than the team waste a timeout, this is what's happening. They're just trying to make sure the floor is extra clean as Tap puts her shoe back on.
In fairness, you don't want to play on a dirty floor.
Right. It seems like the perfect time to clean it.
It's what makes veterans veterans. They're just smart. Use the system. Love it.
So we've got just checking the lineup here for the Lady Tigers. With such a long gap in between plays, you just want to make sure all your players are in the right spot. It's a common thing you see. A free lineup check from the R2.
Looks like Madison Mudd with the service.
this seems like an entirely different ball game than the first two sets.
Well, and therefore you get my Bruce Banner Hulk comparison. Georgetown College coming out in set 3 looking like a superhero.
Strong block there set by number 4 Mueller for the Lady Lions, partnered with Suzanne for a point. And the Lady Lions are almost into double digits here in set number 3.
That was some nice heat provided by none other than J-Tap. Kills leader, not only for Georgetown College, but the Mid-South Conference. A little freshman heat provided by Kennedy Wiley. I was impressed with the vertical leap there. Very high off the floor.
And she's favoring her left knee a little bit from a tweak last night. It's good to see her able to jump that way in this
set. SAGU at this point just trying to work on some skill sets and make this game respectable.
It's nice to see, though, they're not giving up. They're still putting some strong blocks up there. They're just struggling a little bit on defense once the ball comes past the net. Lots of balls have been hitting the floor, but they're still, giving it a good effort. And I think based on Coach Moore sitting back and not calling another timeout, we're just trying to get to set number 4 here. Free ball over the net by Bruce.
Just great placement there. They've been picking apart the Lions defense all set. Therefore, we can understand a little better the 23-9 score. Extreme accuracy, compliments of J-Tap.
Great back row attack by Shaw. But again, this defense, when you've got the defense of the Lady Tigers for that set point there, the Lady Lions just weren't playing that great of defense in that set. There's no other way really to chalk it up. You get down, what was it, 12-0, 11-0?
Yeah, at least it was definitely 11, maybe even 12 before the Lady Lions scored their first point. And we had talked about it coming out of the second set. When you win two sets, it's hard to adjust your thinking and keep that same energy level up. And then it's like a different team came out to play on both sides, made that deficit even wider. I think that's about as good as Georgetown's going to play. Now, I don't expect them to come out and not play that good, but I think they hit their ceiling there. They were extremely accurate. If you look at the stats, their hitting percentage has got to be as high as it's been probably for them all year. And one of the worst sets that we've seen for sure, the Lady Lions play, and probably the worst set they played all year. Although we did see Coach Moore tinkering around with the lineup at all times. 33% of the players on the court were common bench players. So he's digging a little deeper into his bench, giving them some time and exposure to high-level play against a team like Georgetown. Well, they saw it. They saw it in good fashion there. That's some top-level play.
And you saw Georgetown taking advantage of the errors that the Lady Lions were making. One of the hardest things when you're playing a team that maybe not, overall is a much lower level than you, but in that third set, it was obvious that Georgetown was playing at a much higher caliber than the Lady Lions were. And the hardest thing to overcome is when you're in a situation like that to not kind of sit back and start making the same errors that your opponent is. Because you can start getting lax and think, okay, I don't really need to try as hard. But we saw Georgetown do exactly opposite of that. They didn't have, I don't remember really any missed serves in that set, coming off of set number 2 with 4, which is huge from a team that's nationally ranked, like we've said. They cleaned that up. They didn't fall back into that rut. They didn't make defensive errors. You just simply didn't see any balls hitting the floor. There was always a body chasing after a ball, and they were scrappy enough to really keep everything in play. The Lady Lions, unfortunately, we saw a lot of balls hit the floor, lots of communication errors, hitting errors from the front row, people not in the right place at the right time. So luckily, those are all easy fixes. Again, not necessarily an issue of skill, but just of mental focus and being able to come out and say, okay, that was a hideous third set. We were down way too many points right at the beginning. So like we talked about before the match started, it's a race to each 5-point marker.
And it's also could play into it being a confidence shift. And in sports, confidence is the most important thing. And it can make up a lot of gaps in talent, in ability. When you have confidence, you just play well. And we'll see early on in this set how that difference is going to play out. But it looks like the Lady Lions are coming back out remembering, hey, wait a minute, we won the first 2 sets. We're good. We got smoked that one last, but that's the anomaly. That's the exception, not the rule. And we're going to come out with some more focus. Now, Coach Moore is going with Madeline Hartline, which was a staple in the starting lineup last year, but not so much this year because of the extraordinarily large amount of talent that he has gained in recruitment. Ms. Hartline has had to share the floor, so it's good to see her out, and I think this will give her a lot of confidence. She came out and played really well last set, but one of the few players that really brought her A game to the floor.
And we see Kennedy Wiley out instead of Molly McBride as well, a different starting lineup than we've seen earlier. She continued on from set number 3 as we are officially in play. A great first start for freshman Kennedy Wiley. A lot of excitement there as the first point, granted, it's only a 1-point lead, but that may have just been the boost that the Lady Lions needed to get this set started.
Well, it's very interesting to see Coach Moore not go away from using deep bench players.
Defensive error there by Suzanne from the outside.
Let's see if we can see this. He caught it out. Yeah, that was obviously out. And then he lowered his flag like as to say it was in. And then he yelled, no, it was out. Great save there. Free ball. Sophie Ivy to Callie Shaw.
Great swing there by Shaw.
With a little bit of hot salsa. Great recognition there by Emma Pike to see there was a hole to her right.
And we call that, Suzanne tried to get under the ball, play defense. We call that a happy birthday for the opposing team.
Yeah.
When you've got a free net, the ball comes over to you. A great return by Pike, aggressive. She's in the right place at the right time for that point.
Is there such a thing as a Merry Christmas?
No, just happy birthday. No Christmas in volleyball. Lots of great defense again. We see that same.
Good look by Callie Shaw to recognize she could go right back and get that defender back on her heels. She made that defender made a great play earlier with a defensive dig. Callie Shaw going right back to her.
That's a fun kind of player to have as a setter. Ivy can just keep feeding Shaw over and over again for plays like that. And then Shaw's right down there in the defense, playing great defense in set 4.
Meckler going right over the middle, catching Suzanne off guard.
Hitting error there, Almaguer from the back line. We've seen her be a really reliable resource for Ivy on the back row. An unfamiliar thing seeing her hit it in the net in this match.
And the freshman, Muller, bringing her own spiciness.
She had a wide open net. You see a quick pass, beautifully quick set, and
Great
an
timing.
open net. The blockers were way too late for that quick set there to Muller for the kill.
Muller's got a really, really high vertical. Very athletic players in these freshmen.
And this is more the team that we're used to seeing from the Lady Lions. They're cleaning up their defense. We haven't seen balls hit the floor. A couple defensive plays have shanked off and gone out of bounds, but we haven't seen anything hit the floor, so their effort and their focus is seemingly coming back. I guess I spoke too soon.
Well, service error there by Sophie Ivy, and not a common occurrence, but not one you want in a very tight battle like this. Got to eliminate the errors.
Great swing by Suzanne from the outside of the floor down the line. Came up just short in front of number 15, Haley B, as we have deemed her.
Two back-to-back service errors by the Lady Lions. That is just unacceptable.
Double contact there for the Lady Tigers. Now, you of course don't want any missed serves at any point in a match, but if you're going to miss them, it's better to miss them now than later. So maybe the Lady Lions are just getting all their missed serves out, so when we get to closer to the end of the set, we won't be missing those.
I know that Lions fans all over the world hope that is true. But Jay Tapp there saying, I still got something to say about it. Well placed, well executed. Strong hit there.
And now the Lady Lions have an opportunity to take advantage of this service error from the Lady Tigers as Suzanne steps back to serve 9, serving 7.
Great block. Kennedy Wiley.
Partnered with Madeline Hartline. I've noticed Hartline has a lot of energy on the net, which is what we need at this high intensity match. we need someone with excitement and who's willing to go after every single ball. Right there you see Wiley a little caught in front of Bruce, but the ball is still in play.
Another, would that qualify as a happy birthday?
Yeah. Not as happy of one because Wiley was right up there with her, but
Yeah, kind of a happy birthday with a side of joust.
maybe a half birthday. Happy half birthday.
Point SAGU.
Lions with the lead, 3-point margin here in the fourth set. This has been a great battle.
Great dig by Almaguer there in the back corner of the court. Shaw keeping the ball in play, a free ball. Now the Lady Lions have an opportunity to take advantage with Hartline running a slide. Recovered out to Shaw. Great play off of the block. Shaw was caught pretty tight to the net. That's a really dangerous place to be when you're trying to make an aggressive play.
And if you see that, that was one of the few bad sets Sophie Ivy has made and put Callie Shaw out of place. Off the hands. Yet another point for the Lady Lions. The deficit is now 5.
And then we got to just take this 1 point at a time. The Lady Lions have a strong lead here, but as we saw from set number 3, Georgetown can easily come back. And Shaw is taking advantage of tooling off of that outside block. As we take a timeout here for Georgetown, you know, we've seen lots of strong kills from Shaw that have gone either through the block or over the block. But now that we have a strong opposing block coming from right in front of Shaw, she is recognizing that it's not about how hard she can hit it and to try to get past the block, but she is instead trying to be a smart hitter and tool off of the outside hand, which we've gotten 3 points back to back here with that use of the block.
3 straight points and still service favor to the Lady Lions. Timeout called by the Tigers. Trying to regroup, not let this run get any further. We'll see, keep your eye on, we've noticed that these timeouts have been crucial and have iced the server, and nearly every time the SAGU service comes out negative after these timeouts. So let's see what happens here.
And the Lady Lions are focusing on getting first to 15. They're 1 point away. First to 15, and then the next goal is first to 20.
I believe Almaguer is going to, be the server.
And the good news is she's got an extremely consistent serve, a great floater. That's what you need right after a timeout. Good defense by Bruce, sending a free ball over to the Lady Tigers. Tight to the net, and the Lady Lions are there. Sophia Ivy with the block. And now the goal is first to 20 for the Lady Lions.
Wow.
You just salute at that one. That's a great swing.
Yes, you do. That was an amazing swing by Madison Mudd. Great hit.
Great hustle there. Shaw swings down the line. Looked like there was potential for that ball to come back in play. Great line swing.
It was a good effort, yep.
The libero hustling all the way, chasing that ball down. That's the kind of hustle you want to see every point.
7-point deficit in favor of the Lady Lions.
Ball shot by Shaw, attempting to kind of change up the speed a little bit. Great defense by Suzanne. And an error there. Ball hit into the net for a Lady Lions point.
And the Tigers have gone back to Bruce Banner mode after showing a very hawkish third set.
And if you can see the body language here for the Lady Tigers, lots of frustration on the faces, some dropped shoulders, not a lot of jumping and excitement in between every point, which even when you're losing, you want to come together in the middle of the floor and get excited. That's how the ball game's going to turn around. We don't see a lot of that, and the mental focus is just not there. Ball's hit out of bounds, just like we just saw for another Lady Lions point. Ball's now hitting the ground, shanking off of seemingly slow defense. And now hitting errors are starting to come into play.
And you see another error there. And I want to call attention to something I said a little earlier in the third set, that they came out with the extreme, their absolute best, but did they leave anything in the tank? And I think we're beginning to see the stamina is what was compromised a little bit by, and it's a kind of a weird thing to think about, because in these match play type instances and games, you're always wanting to give your best effort and give full energy to everything you do, but the stamina thing is real. And if you spend everything in your tank to just get one win, then you'll come back out and not perform at the highest level. And I think that's what has happened, although the Tigers are showing a little run here.
Good dump by Ivy just to keep the ball in play. Strong swing by Shaw. It's good to see her back in this set.
Yeah, she was missing a little bit in set 3, but her skills are very prominent and on display in set 4. Big hit by Meckel.
Clean back row attack by Almaguer, and she chases that ball to the back line and makes the smart decision to let it go. We've talked a lot about this season how important it is to have your foot on, whether it's the sideline or the back line there. You see her running all the way, attempting to get as close as she can to that back line to make sure it's out of bounds for a Lady Lions point.
Callie Shaw with her second service error in a row. Maybe the adrenaline just pumping a little too much.
Good assist there by Alexis Muller. Coach Moore always says that every single player on his team is a setter. Obviously, you've got one that's a go-to, but he wants everyone to feel comfortable. That's a great example of why Alexis Muller was right there. She was comfortable enough to set the ball using both hands. Beautiful assist for a Lady Lions point.
Celie Bruce with the service.
Ball still in play, while not pretty. And Kennedy Wiley there for a dig attempt.
Jessica Tapp with the strong hit there to the freshman. Not quite quick enough to get up under it. The Tigers pull within 9.
Strong tip by Hartline. And freshman Kennedy Wiley with that kill attempt, getting the Lady Tigers a little bit out of system. Great kill there. She's high up in the air. That's Kennedy Wiley, again, a freshman coming from a strong high school program in Red Oak. She's jumping high above the block, hitting straight over. You see the blocks there. Defense is set correctly, but she was just able to get up over the block and hit that ball down. We are at match point here for the Lady Lions.
What is that call? I missed that.
We've got a net violation called on Wiley there. You see, you can barely see it in the replay. Her hand came up and touched the top of the tape. And there is set and match point for the Lady Lions, taking it 3-1 against Georgetown College.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The match is over. SAGU has pulled off another great win over a top-tier team, the number 17 team in the nation. And as you see there, the teams gather for an in-game prayer. Coach Moore will say a blessing over the team. This Georgetown team has quickly got to leave and pack their bags, get up to the airport so that they can get home. They got to catch a quick flight with not much time left. Good to see. Great sports. What a top-tier program. It's always fun to see when top-tier programs come to play or you get to be a part of that. They took a loss today, their first loss of the season, but I expect to see that this team will regroup, gather themselves, and be right there at the top at the end of the season. Maybe, just maybe, SAGU and Georgetown meet again in a potential NAIA national tournament showdown, which would be not unfamiliar to this Georgetown program, but not yet achieved by the Lady Lions. So it looks like they're headed that way. They keep winning big games like this, and they will be nationally ranked and considered for a spot in the national tournament. Well, this is the first of a doubleheader matchup. And before we go, we're going to go down to Kristen Urban, our sideline reporter with Sealy Bruce, to collect her thoughts. Kristen, what does Sealy got to say about this game?
How was SAGU ultimately able to come out with the win?
Well, we just worked as a team to finish off the win, and it was kind of rough that third game, but we came out and took the W, and they're nationally ranked 17th in the country, I believe. So that's really big for our team. So, yay, SAGU!
Sealy Bruce, the libero for the SAGU Lions. Always entertaining. Always entertaining. One of my absolute favorites ever. And there you heard it from Sealy. The confidence, the exuberance to come off with a big win. They know what this means to beat a big-time program like Georgetown. Next up in our doubleheader will be Central Christian College from Arkansas. That's coming to you in just about 45 minutes. We'll be back with some pregame and some highlights from this last game. So sit tight, beware, turn on your TVs if you're a fan of the Lady Lions, and get ready for some doubleheader action coming shortly.